Good morning. Welcome to Business 360, where business, markets, and the economy come into full view. I'm Margaux Salcedo, and this is the Bilyonaryo News Channel. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s tax relief plan seen to benefit over 3 million workers, but will cost the government 66 billion pesos in foregone revenues a year. Meralco Chairman Manuel V. Pangilinan warns the power industry may not survive if asked to shoulder system loss charges. And the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas launches 3 new digital payment services to expand cashless transactions. The Philippine government may lose about 66 billion pesos a year under the proposed tax cuts of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. The plan would raise the tax-free income threshold to 350,000 pesos a year and exempt some small businesses from the minimum corporate income tax. The Department of Finance said the proposal would benefit more than 3.1 million workers and 78,000 micro and small enterprises. It aims to increase workers' take-home pay and help small businesses, especially those operating at a loss. However, some analysts have raised concerns about how the government will replace the lost revenue while reducing its budget deficit. Finance Secretary Frederick Go said the government could offset the loss or the lost revenue by turning to excise taxes. We will not survive. That was the warning from Meralco Chairman Manuel Pangilinan on the proposal to remove system loss charges. In a statement, Pangilinan says such a move would cost tens of billions of pesos, a bill too big for the industry to absorb. He adds that costs would cut across the entire industry, which can't eliminate system loss as it is inherent in energy distribution. System loss charges help power distributors recover the cost of electricity lost before it reaches customers. These losses come from illegal connections, power theft, and metering errors. The warning comes as President Marcos called for the removal of the charges as part of efforts to bring down energy prices. Meralco, however, said it still supports the government's goal of making electricity more affordable and is ready to work on possible changes to the EPIRA law. 5 IT parks in Metro Manila are seeking PEZA Ecozone status, according to Trade Secretary Cristina Roque. The move comes after President Marcos lifted the NCR moratorium on new IT parks. The 5 developments include Altair in Makati City, the One Atrium Tower in Muntinlupa, Ayala's Arca South 1 in Taguig, Parcal in Parañaque, and the Yuchenko Center also in Makati. If approved, the development will be able to host PEZA-accredited companies eligible for investment incentives and reinforce Metro Manila's role as the country's main IT BPM hub. The University of Asia and the Pacific has lowered its second quarter growth forecast to 2.5%, down from its earlier 2.6% estimate. UANP says persistently high inflation and subdued business confidence weigh on economic recovery. The university also warns of a triple threat that could push inflation higher in the third quarter. Crude oil prices rising above $80 a barrel. The 85 pesos daily minimum wage hike in Metro Manila and the impact of a severe El Nino. In June, headline inflation eased to 6.4%, while core inflation accelerated to 4.4%, its highest level in 31 months. The peso has climbed to its highest level in a month. The local currency extended its winning streak to a third straight session, closing at 61.41 against the dollar on Wednesday. Analysts credit the peso's strength to the rally in Philippine stocks, with the PSE index closing above 6,300. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas also provided support after intervening only minimally during the peso's recent weakness to smooth excessive volatility. BSP Governor Eli Ramonola says trying to defend the peso against a strong U.S. dollar would only drain the country's foreign exchange reserves. We're taking a quick break. When we return, we'll speak with ARTA Director General Ernesto Perez on cutting red tape to boost investments in the Philippines. Stay tuned. Business 360 will be right back. Welcome back to Business 360. I'm Margaux Salcedo. Ease of doing business remains a key part of the government's investment agenda. Joining us now to discuss the latest reforms is Anti-Red Tape Authority Director General Secretary Ernesto Perez. Welcome to Business 360, DG Perez. Sec.
Thank you, Margaux, for having me. Thank you for this opportunity to share with our Filipino audience, even foreign investors, the good things, programs, and initiatives that ARTA have been developing and implementing in the last 8 years of its existence.
Yes, sir. In fact, at the State of the Nation address last Monday, President BBM highlighted the ease of doing business, which is your mandate, and all of these reforms as a key driver of economic growth. Would you like to share with us, with our audiences, which ARTA reforms have had the biggest impact in making the Philippines investor-friendly?
Yes, Margaux. In fact, whenever we have the opportunity to meet with foreign investors, even ambassadors, the primary concern among investors, both local and foreign, is really about ease of doing business. And to be able to do this and to address the issues on ease of doing business, we are developing programs involving streamlining and digitalization of government processes and services so that there will be full transparency and accountability. Because we notice that investors look at certainty or predictability as much as incentives given to them. It's really more of an issue of trust. So to be able to do this, we are in the process really of implementing digital-based programs like the implementation of Executive Order 32, thanks to the President for signing Executive Order 32 on July 4, 2023, which streamlined the permitting process for telecommunications and internet infrastructure. We know for businesses, really, and even for household, we need a stronger and faster internet connection. That's why with the implementation of that Executive Order 32, we were able to reduce the number of permits from 16 to just 8, the number of documentary requirements from 86 to just 35, processing time from 241 days to just 35 days. Can you imagine the reliefs being given to the applicants? And because of this, the result is encouraging. The number of permits issued increased from about 6,000 to more than 10,000. That's almost double. This only shows that when you make it easier for investors and businesses to deal with government, they will voluntarily apply and register their businesses. That's only one.
Yes, po. I'm wondering if this is also related to the Green Lane, which has helped facilitate over 6 trillion in investments in the past 3 years.
Yeah. Green Lane is about having a one-stop shop for big-ticket investments. This is being spearheaded by the Department of Trade and Industry and Board of Investments. ARTA is there to help facilitate, to interconnect agencies involved in the regulatory process like the DPWH, DOTR, of course, DICT, Board of Investments, and all of those agencies. Our mandate under the Ease of Doing Business is not only to cause a change in the mindset of people in government, to treat investors as very important persons, but also in the mindset of people in government that we are here to assist and serve not only citizens but even investors that drive our economy forward and will fund those programs and initiatives highlighted by the President during his recent State of the Nation address.
You mentioned the one-stop shop. Is this the e-boss?
E-boss refers only to the permitting process for the local government units because, of course, whenever investor decides to invest, they look at which LGU to invest. So whenever LGUs can assure them that there is a full digital process in the permitting process, they give priority to that LGUs. And so far, our data show that those LGUs, and there are 129 of them out of the number of LGUs, that allows the application for permits end-to-end from the filing of the application up to the issuance of the permit full online. And we have shown that even in Metro Manila, it takes only 10 minutes for one to get his business permit, even renewal, comparable to Singapore. They're proud that, to say that in Singapore you can get your permit in 10 minutes. We can also do that in the Philippines.
Are we doing it already, though?
Yes, there are a number. Mandaluyong, Valenzuela, Quezon City, even Marikina, they can get their business permit in a matter of minutes.
So your strategy is to really parang tututukan po ninyo bawat LGU and to make sure that all of our LGUs are implementing ease of doing business in their own backyard.
Yes, Margaux, because that is required under the ease of doing business, meaning that all LGUs within 3 years from the effectivity of the law, they're supposed to set up and operationalize an electronic business one-stop shop. That's why last year, we reminded LGUs of that responsibility. So we sent them notices to explain why up to this time they have not set up one. Those that have responded, we have not filed cases against them. But those that even completely ignored our notices to explain, we had no option but to file cases with the Office of the Ombudsman.
I saw that of the over 400 LGUs that you contacted, you have filed cases with against over 100 or maybe 130 LGUs because they are not implementing their ease of doing business responsibilities. Is that true? And that was last year.
Last year.
So it's 100. What's the status of that now?
There are 400 more in process. I'm just making sure. I have instructed our legal department to make sure that before we file these cases with the Ombudsman, we have to make sure that they have been properly notified and that despite notification, they have not even responded to our call for an explanation why they have not complied with the requirement of the law to set up an electronic business one-stop shop.
At the State of the Nation address, of course, people are really looking to see how we will put in transparency towards good governance. And one of the strategies for this is digitalization. How far in is ARTA in terms of its digitalization agenda?
We look at it by priority sectors, like first on digital infrastructure, which is very important in terms of having a stronger and faster internet connection. We look at also at renewable energy because we have to lessen the cost for industries to really prosper. Then we have also responsible mining that will drive the economy, provide more business and livelihood opportunities for people. Also shipbuilding and ship repair because we are the fourth largest in terms of shipbuilding. And all the other priorities like semiconductor also. So what we do, we gather all the agencies involved, look at their processes. We conduct workshops, and even in the workshop, we are surprised, even agencies are surprised that these agencies are requiring the same documents that they require. So by conducting workshop, gathering all together, these agencies involved in the particular sector, we analyze their existing business process, and after a 2 or 3 day workshop, we convince them, recommend for them to reduce the number of requirements, and recommend the to-be process. So that's what we're doing at the Anti-RETIP Authority. So our role is only to facilitate, interconnect government agencies, and we recognize the lead agencies. For instance, when it comes to digital infrastructure, it is the ICT. When it comes to energy, the Department of Energy. So we have to convince our fellow government workers that we are not here to,
overstep them,
overstep
do their
them.
job
Instead,
for them.
recognize their role.
For the DPWH, they came up with a transparency portal. For the Department of Budget and Management, they have their Project DIME, Digital Imaging for Monitoring and Evaluation, which is supposed to help them monitor all of these projects, including flood control projects. How about for ARTA? Do you have a new portal?
Yes. Thank you for asking that, Margaux. We are also implementing our anti-red-tape dashboard where we plan to interconnect all our digital-based platforms like the PBRIS, the Philippine Business Regulations Information System, our anti-red-tape electronic management information system that digitalize the capacity of agencies to upload the citizen charter that they implement. And also, we have digitalized our complaints handling system through our electronic complaints management system. We have also developed a virtual assistant we call TALA. TALA, Transparency, Accountability, and Law in Action, that receives and responds to complaints 24/7. She understands more than 19 dialects, and she responds in those dialects, also in Filipino and English. Yes.
Yes, sir. However, in spite of all of these headway that we have and all of the achievements that ARTA has since 2018, since you were formed, it seems that we are still way behind in terms of foreign direct investments. For example, Vietnam has FDIs of almost 40 billion, while the Philippines FDIs is less than 8 billion. What are the big bottlenecks that we still have to overcome, especially in these last 2 years of the Marcos administration?
It's really more of a question of trust. Investors, before they decide, they look at the country, whether there is predictability, certainty in that particular agency. That's why we in ARTA is really promoting transparency and accountability through our dashboard. So, and also, I have to emphasize this, even the World Bank Business Ready report in the latest 2025 result confirms that we rank high in terms of regulatory framework, meaning that we have good laws and regulations. It's really in the implementations that we need more improvement, that we really need to step up in the implementation. We rank about in the lower median part. So in terms of regulatory framework, we are around Singapore, no? We are next to Singapore. So the big question really is, how serious are we in implementing those good laws and regulations? So we at ARTA, our focus this year is the full implementation of those digital-based programs and initiatives that I've shared earlier, including our continuing collaboration with government agencies under a whole-of-government approach.
Okay, thank you, sir. And we're so honored to have you here. And hopefully, with the hard work that you're doing, we will be able to achieve what they have been saying, from red tape to red carpet. Thank you so much, Secretary Perez. Thank you for joining us. More stories when we return. Don't go away. Business 360 will be right back. Welcome back to Business 360. I'm Margaux Salcedo. S&P Global Ratings expect the Philippine gaming industry to remain under pressure this year as stricter regulations and weaker consumer spending weigh on the sector. The ratings agency forecasts gross gaming revenue to decline by 7% this year, with only a modest recovery expected in 2027. S&P says tighter rules on online gambling, along with persistent inflation, are likely to drag industry revenue. Last year, regulators restricted e-wallet linkages to online gambling after rapid growth in the sector raised concerns over gambling addiction. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas has launched 3 new digital payment services to expand cashless transactions across the country. The new services include Direct Debit PH, which allows customers to authorize automatic payments for recurring bills. InstaPay Cash-In lets users request money from another person through participating banks or e-wallets. Meanwhile, InstaPay for Businesses raises the maximum transfer limit for registered businesses to 500,000 pesos per transaction, up from 50,000 pesos. The launch is part of the central bank's push to make 60 to 70% of retail payments digital by 2028. Flag carrier Philippine Airlines welcomes its third Airbus A350-1000 ahead of its planned route expansion to the U.S. PAL plans to deploy the aircraft on its Manila to San Francisco service starting August 5, with initial plans to operate the route thrice a week before making it a daily service. The new aircraft is part of PAL's initial order for 9 Airbus craft of the same model and will enter service once regulatory and operational preps are complete. For news abroad, Pavel Durov, the founder of Telegram, has been charged with facilitating terrorist activities by Russia's Federal Security Service. Russia's security agency said the charges stem from Telegram's failure to remove content it claims was used by Ukrainian spies and other extremist groups to plan sabotage, terrorist attacks, and cyber fraud in Russia. In response, Telegram's official X account posted an image of the tech billionaire making an offensive hand gesture. Durov, who was born in Russia, is also under investigation by French authorities over allegations that his app failed to adequately counter criminal activity on the platform. Durov denies wrongdoing. And that's Business 360. I'm Margaux Salcedo. Thank you for joining us. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.